Hello, hello. Good evening for me anyway. Welcome to the History of the Promise Bible Study presented by He Promise Publications. Today we're going to go into Genesis chapter 13, and it talks about Avram and Lot parting ways. Avram and his and his nephew Lot parting ways. The one thing I want to point out that's being brought to my attention as I sit here is that when we read the known Bible, there's a lot of parts that we're not getting the day-to-day life, okay? We're not getting the day-to-day life. And sometimes that makes it hard to connect. But we're getting in the Word what we need to see the transitions to getting to the point where the promise is here. That's the best way to put it. I just lost good words for that, but the promise is here. That the promise is coming. It is a real promise that there's here. So we're getting the key points that we need to solidify our understanding and help us move along in faith if we so choose. Okay, that's the best way for me to put that. If we choose. Because this is not forced. He does not force. So, Genesis chapter 13 talks about Avram and Lot parting ways. So let's jump right into it. Verse 1. Abram went up out of Egypt, he, his wife, all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. He went on his journeys from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, when Bethel was between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. So it's first starting out. There Abram called on the Lord's name, on Adonai's name. Lot also, who went with Abram, had flocks, herds, and tents. So Lot had his own stuff. He wasn't living off his uncle, he had his own stuff. The land was not able to bear them, that they might live together, for their possessions were so great that they couldn't live together. There was strife. Side note, go ahead and write it down. I want you to look up synonyms for strife between the herdsmen of Avram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites lived in the land. Abram said to Lot, "Please, let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. If you go to the left, then I will go to the right. Or if you go to the right, then I will go to the left." Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before Adonai destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Adonai, like the land of Egypt as you go to Zoar. See, some good solid land for herds to eat, okay? So Lot chose the plain of the Jordan for himself. Lot traveled east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. And here's one of those moments again that I'm really, really, really hoping that the thing in my mind is in the question and comment section. All right, let's continue. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. All right, so Lot took his herds and his people and moved close to Sodom. Okay? Now, the men of Sodom were greatly wicked and sinners against the Lord. The Lord, Adonai, said to Abram, after Lot was separated from him, "Now lift up your eyes." We got another promise because it's in, when it's written in this book in bold letters, it's a promise. So, "Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward." So every direction Abram can spin around and look, the Lord has told him to look. "For I will give you all the land which you see, to you and to your children, forever. Promises continuing, I will make your children as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can count the dust of the earth, then your children may also be counted. Arise, walk through the land in its length and in its width, for I will give it to you. Now we know dust. We know dust. We can't even count the dust in our living rooms. And if we could, it would be a lot. Imagine counting the dust of a whole land. That is the extent of the children of Avram. Okay? Avram moved his tent and came and lived by the oaks of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Adonai. All right, so we sure don't have a lot of questions on this one, but that's not a bad thing. All right, but I do want you to be ready. Same as I always say, have your Bibles, your Google, your copy of History of the Promise, however you've got it, have it near you, and prepare to pause me so you can look up and answer these questions, okay? First question, was Avram a poor man? Was Avram a poor man? Second part of this question is where you're going to have to go do some digging. Whether or not he was a poor man, how do you know? What tells you whether he was a poor man or not in this chapter? All right. Next. I'm looking at this. This ought to be interesting because, like I said, every once in a while it's like, what was happening there? So let's just start with it. Okay. It is said that Abram called on the name of YHWH. Capitals all YHWH, okay? You'll find out later in the story that Abram did not know his name. He did not know his name, but called him El Shaddai. So there was a time that the men that were following the Lord did not know his name, and so they referred to him as El Shaddai. And this is something which is defined. There we go. El Shaddai is defined in the beginning of the book as. Now, if you have the History of the Promise, you can go back to the beginning because it is in the small chapter about names. If you don't, you can look it up in Google. Google it, or however you do your searches, and it will tell you what El Shaddai means. That's E-L, capital E-L for God, and E-L is Supreme God, okay? Shaddai, S-H-A-D-D-A-I, okay? Go ahead and pause me if you need to and jump back. I'll be here. All right, next question. Why did Lot and Avram separate? Now, this is the uncle and the nephew. And Lot's father is gone, so Avram's probably like a father to him. Why did they separate? Now, this one might take some digging back. This is one of those parts where I said, I gotta shut up. How did Lot disrespect his uncle, even though what he did is not mentioned as disrespect? Again, how did Lot disrespect his uncle, even though what he did is not mentioned as disrespect? This is going to take some digging. I could tell you. If you cannot figure it out after a time, please feel free to leave the question in the comments, and I will answer you and I will explain it to you. But I really want you to look at it and see if your eyes can open up to it, because this is one of those things you start to see things that you didn't see before. It's like, so give it a try first. It's in the chapter how it happened. And I almost gave you the answer. I think that's why the Spirit plopped me in the mouth and said, don't say that. Keep reading. All right. So one more time. How did Lot disrespect his uncle, even though what he did is not mentioned as disrespect? Okay. Next question. Where did Lot end up living, and what is said of the men there? The men that already live in that area. Where did Lot end up settling himself, and what is said about the men that live there? Now, this last one is a fill in the blank. So I'm just going to say blank in there so you guys can fill it in. Okay. Avram lived in the land of blank, which Yahweh blank to him. One more time. Avram lived in the land of blank, which Yahweh blank to him. Alrighty, so go do a little bit of searching, see what you can come up with. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down in the comments section. If you're interested in getting the history of the promise, I don't mention it too often in the in each study that we do, but I'll throw it out there. I throw it out from time to time. If you're interested in getting the book itself, because it is written chapter by chapter with the questions and comments and concerns after each chapter, you can get the book, one of the volumes or all 7 of the volumes, at www.mia multiplied, that is MIA multiplied altogether .net. If you go up to the top of the channel, right hand corner at the top, the banner area, I think there's a little link you can hit there and take you there. There are also other books that might be of interest to you. And like I said, Mia Multiplied is, not just about History of the Promise. History of the Promise is, and He Promised Publications is a part of it. So you can see all kind of stuff. But the books are there if you're interested. All right. Well, with that, you guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get inside. The sun is going down. And I got some things to do. So you guys have a good one. And I will catch you tomorrow. Blessings on you all, okay? Bye.